we are at ACT Expo with the president of Clean Energy Renewable Fuels, Harrison Clay. And Harrison, you're going to tell us about Redeem.
Yes.
It's the main product that you guys are working on with biogas.
That's right.
Okay.
Redeem is a biomethane vehicle fuel that we sell through Clean Energy's LNG and CNG stations. We started producing and marketing Redeem last year. Well, we've been producing it for about 5 years, but we didn't really start selling it in commercial scale into the vehicle fuel market until last year when we launched Redeem. So we sell biomethane as CNG or LNG to fleets across California. We sold about 14 million gallons of Redeem last year.
Oh, that's great. And so what do you see as the market capacity for this? I mean, could it take over CNG, traditionally sourced CNG, or could it just be a significant percentage of the total market?
Well, I'm quite certain it can be a significant percentage. If you just look at the landfills that are operating today that have available biomethane from high BTU landfill gas energy projects, we can get to almost 140 million gasoline gallons just with what's already in the ground.
Great.
Pretty easily. We're developing many more sites. We have a big pipeline of potential projects. We're looking more and more at ag waste. We've seen a statistic that says there's 1 billion cubic feet a year of biomethane available from farms in California alone.
Wow.
So there's a tremendous amount of biomethane we could be putting into the grid. Do I think we could meet 100% of Clean Energy's volume or the CNG volume? I think we could. It'll take us a couple years to get there, but the resources are definitely there. The technology is there. We just need the know-how and the market to do it.
Okay, and in one of the presentations I saw, it was saying that it's hard for biomethane to compete on cost with traditionally sourced natural gas. And
was that my presentation?
It may have been,
yeah.
Because you showed how a lot of it's the subsidies or the sort of I forget exactly what the...
Well, the cost of biomethane production, even the lowest end cost of production is $5.50 to $8. That's from a large landfill. That's capital inclusive. If you're depreciating your capital over 20 years, you'll see $5.50 to $8 as being your kind of all-in price per MMBTU. The average price for Henry Hub for the last 4 or 5 years has been more like $4.
Yeah.
So we're producing a product that by design is entirely fungible with natural gas.
Yeah.
Natural gas sells for $4. Costs us $5 to $8 to make it. How do you make that work?
Exactly.
Well, fortunately, and we don't rely on subsidies. I think that's important to point out.
Right.
What we do need and what we do rely on is carbon pricing. So there has to be some market where carbon reduction has economic value.
Yeah.
So fortunately in the United States we have the renewable fuel standard where low carbon renewable fuels can generate a credit that's worth money to people who produce high carbon fuels or non-renewable fuels who have to produce these fuels by law. If they don't, they buy credits from those of us who do.
Exactly.
So we generate these credits, we sell them to the big refineries, you know, your Chevrons and BPs and Exxon. These companies buy these credits from renewable fuel producers. In California, we have a low carbon fuel standard that gives us a carbon credit. For every gallon we sell, we generate a certain carbon reduction. We generate credits, we sell those credits. That makes our product economically sustainable as well as environmentally friendly.
Exactly. And I really liked the graph that you had on your display of like how the different quantities of GHG and how with from basically
different biomethane resources, yes.
Yeah, it's negative. It's like negative 15.
Yep, that's right.
That's so like how soon before we can just forget about methane from cows and really finally start tapping that resource?
Well, agricultural projects are happening. People are capturing that methane today. They're flaring it. They're using it for electricity.
Yeah.
And in some cases, there are a few projects where they are using it as vehicle fuel. There are some challenges unique to that model because often you don't have really good pipelines. There's nowhere to put the gas. Storage is expensive. You may not have a lot of fleet activity there or minimal fleet activity, so you can't really get it all into the vehicles. So there's a balance that we have to strike. It's something that we're working on and have been working on, frankly, for years to come up with really the right model for jump-starting these projects. I think we're very close. There are a lot of others that are working hard on it as well, and I think we'll see more and more development of ag waste to biomethane projects in the next few years.
Cool. And then, so let's see, what else? Is natural gas as plentiful globally as it is in the U.S.? I mean, somebody was telling me earlier they think of the U.S. as like the Saudi Arabia of natural gas.
Right. Well, the United States has far more proven reserves right now than anywhere. And potential for even further and greater natural gas resources are unproven, but people suspect are there. That doesn't mean it's not in other countries. They just haven't looked for it yet, the way that we have here. So if you look in China or Europe, I think that they'll end up finding that they have shale resources as well. We don't really know yet because there hasn't been a whole lot of work done to figure it out, but I suspect they'll end up finding natural gas in shale formation that they can get the same way we've done it here in time in other parts of the world.
Okay, and that's in shale as opposed to traditional drilling.
Correct.
Okay.
It's it's just sort of what they call unconventional natural gas formations.
Yeah.
They've known they were there for decades. They just didn't really have an economic means of getting it until the last 10 years. So.
And then, okay, cool. So that kind of like brings me more into fracking, which is kind of like off topic. But
Right.
I mean, it's something that like I always wonder, like if regulation starts to get tighter on that, that will probably get more expensive, you know, and then make biogas a little bit more competitive.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly true. I think increased regulation of conventional natural gas production or fossil natural gas will obviously add some expense and could make biogas more competitive in the absence of carbon price. But I think as long as we have an effective carbon price, we're going to be able to compete effectively against any fossil fuel. And I think it's also important to keep in mind that biomethane, even if we don't have a carbon price, even if we just have to sell it at in competition with diesel, it's substantially less expensive than diesel on an energy equivalent basis. So our product we can sell for $1 less than diesel. We can guarantee customers savings against diesel and fuel with a completely renewable fuel, 90% GHG reduction, something that will be available to them indefinitely, and they can get out of the diesel fuel price exposure game. So,
which is really challenging for a business because then they can't predict their costs.
Right, and we've gotten so used to what are really high costs of gas. I mean, in California, people think $4.50 is you know what you're going to pay for gas, and I don't see it getting much cheaper anytime soon.
Exactly.
You know, we can produce this product and get it into the tank for $2.50 a gallon, and make money. So it's much less expensive.
And then you know, in California, water is a big issue, right? And so the thing with fracking is that you know it uses a lot of water. It's very water intensive, whereas biomethane probably not a water intensive way.
No,
you know, like
not at all.
So
I mean, in our project in Texas, we don't really use any water at all. I mean, the water that's used in the landfill is recirculated leachate that comes out of the landfill. So we don't actually have any water demand whatsoever for biomethane production at that facility.
Cool. So is there anything else you want to add?
No, I think that probably nails it.
Cool. Thank you.
I would say, in terms of last year's production, 14 million gallons.
Yeah.
In terms of reference of how much more than just EPA's projections for the industry last year.
Right. So as I said, we did 14 million gasoline gallons of redeem last year. That's about 21 million ethanol gallons. Ethanol gallons is really what they measure fuel by under the renewable fuel standard. And to put that in perspective, last year the EPA's entire goal for the country in terms of production of cellulosic biofuels was 6 million ethanol gallons.
Oh wow!
We did 21 million gallons. We were only really running it for half the year.
Yeah.
So I think the important thing to realize about this is that it is a scalable solution. We need large-scale solutions if we really want to make a dent in carbon emissions. If we really want to get onto renewable or non-fossil-based fuel resources, we need large-scale solutions to those problems, and this is something we can do in scale, and are doing in scale. So it's one of the reasons we're so excited about it.
Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay.